He messaged me after 20 years, said I was the only person who ever truly knew him. I wanted to believe it. I did believe it, until I signed over the deed to my house and never saw him again. My name is Lauren Delaney. I'm 43 years old, and this is how I lost everything to the boy I thought I once loved. We met in high school, senior year. His name was Eric Calloway. He wasn't popular, but he had that mysterious aura that made him interesting. Messy brown hair, sketchbook always under his arm. He'd draw people when they weren't looking. He once gave me a portrait of myself laughing in the cafeteria. I don't even remember laughing, but he captured something in me no one else saw. We dated for 6 months. I was his first girlfriend. We shared one kiss in his parents' basement while watching a bad sci-fi movie. It felt like everything. Then graduation came. He said goodbye without fanfare, just drifted out of my life. I didn't hear from Eric again for 21 years, until one Tuesday morning last fall. A Facebook message. Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I've never forgotten you. My heart stopped. I clicked on his profile. Same eyes, same lopsided smile. Older, sure, but instantly recognizable. He told me he'd just finalized a separation, that life had been hard lately, that reconnecting with someone who had once meant something to him gave him hope. I was recently divorced myself, still picking up the pieces. I understood loneliness. So we started talking. It escalated fast. Late-night chats, shared playlists, nostalgic memories. He remembered details from high school I didn't even recall. My favorite candy, the exact color of my prom dress. You were always the one that got away, he said. It felt cinematic, like fate was giving me a second chance. He said he was staying at a short-term rental outside of Portland, trying to figure things out. We agreed to meet for coffee. He looked rougher than his photos, tired, thin. But his smile? It was the same. He said seeing me brought him back to life. He told me about his ex-wife, cold, manipulative. About his art, how he gave it up to pay the bills. About the debt, the mental health issues, the regret. I wanted to fix him, and I tried. Within weeks, we were inseparable. I let him stay at my house temporarily. He cooked, cleaned, made me laugh again. I felt needed. He didn't have a job, said he was looking. I paid for groceries, covered his car insurance, helped him set up a new portfolio site for his art. When my friends raised concerns, I brushed them off. You don't know him like I do, I said. He proposed 6 months later. No ring, just a speech. You're the only person I've ever loved without fear, he told me. You make me want to be better. I said yes. Then came the idea. He wanted to start a business, art therapy workshops for teens, a nonprofit that heals through creativity. It sounded beautiful. He was passionate. Said he just needed startup capital and a stable base, which led to the house, my house, paid off after my divorce settlement. He suggested putting it under both our names to secure the loan, streamline the nonprofit paperwork, protect our future. At first, I hesitated, but love is persuasive. And Eric? He knew exactly what to say. We signed the documents on a rainy Thursday. He held my hand the entire time. That night, he made dinner, lit candles, played our song. We danced in the kitchen. It was the last time I ever saw him. The next morning, I woke up to silence. No Eric. No note. His phone went to voicemail. His email bounced. The deed transfer confirmation sat on the kitchen table. My name was now secondary. I called the bank. The account tied to the house had been emptied. $280,000 withdrawn in 3 chunks. I checked our shared laptop. History wiped. I called the police. They said it happens more than you'd think. Romance scams, emotional predators. He'd been planning it for months, maybe years. The name Eric Calloway didn't exist. His ID was fake. Everything he told me was a lie. Even the drawings, he'd copied them from Pinterest. The FBI took over the case when they found he'd pulled similar scams in 3 states. using different names, always targeting divorced women with property in their name. They called him the Ghost Fiancé. Vanished every time after sealing the deed. No arrests, no leads. My house was sold within 2 weeks, wired through offshore accounts and shell corporations. It was gone. I had to move in with my sister. I lost my home, my savings, my dignity, but not my voice. Now I speak at scam awareness seminars. I tell my story to anyone who'll listen, because romance doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it shows up with memories and nostalgia and says all the right things. If you get a message from someone who says you're the only one who ever truly knew them, think twice before you open your door. Or you might end up like me, watching your past walk out with your future. The days that followed were surreal. I kept expecting him to walk back through the front door and say it had all been a mistake. But the silence screamed louder than anything. I replayed every moment we shared, the kitchen dance, the proposal, the shared playlists. I wanted to find a crack, something that would have warned me. But there wasn't one. That's what made it worse. It wasn't rushed, it wasn't reckless. It was engineered. He didn't love me, he studied me, he targeted me. I spent the first week spiraling, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just sat in my sister's guest room, watching the rain, hating myself. The shame was unbearable. When I filed the fraud report with the FBI, the agent didn't even flinch. They'd seen it all before, but not like this, I thought. Not Eric. I gave them everything. His photos, messages, voice notes, emails. They started cross-referencing names and IPs. That's when the truth unraveled. Eric Calloway wasn't real. He was one of 6 aliases tied to a man named Evan Lasker, a career con artist known for romance targeting and real estate fraud. He used AI-generated backstories, edited photos, and scripts he recycled between victims. I wasn't the first. I wasn't even special. But what made my case different was the signature he left behind. One of the FBI analysts noticed something strange. In a background of a photo he sent me, a selfie in a cafe, there was a chalkboard menu with a logo partially visible. That logo led to a local coffee shop in New Mexico that placed him there just 6 weeks earlier, overlapping with 2 other cases. One woman lost her savings account, another, her daughter's college fund. And me? My house. They called him the architect, because he built entire identities like scaffolding, carefully engineered and impossible to trace. I started digging myself. I went through old texts, listening again to his voice notes. He always used the same phrases. You bring out the best in me. I feel safe with you. I never stopped thinking about you. It made my skin crawl. The thing is, I wanted to believe it, that someone could come back after all those years and still care. That story was easier to swallow than the truth. But I was done being easy. I contacted the other victims. 2 agreed to speak. One of them, Dana, had actually gotten as far as setting a wedding date. We started piecing things together. Dana had one thing I didn't, a recent mailing address he'd used to ship a gift. That address led to a storage unit outside Flagstaff. The FBI got a warrant. What they found inside changed everything. Inside that storage unit were dozens of old cell phones, boxes of printed identity forms, multiple forged IDs, and an entire wall covered in pinned photos, notes, and digital profiles, a roadmap of every woman he had ever targeted. And in the center of that wall, under the label High Trust Prospects, was me, my photo, my house deed, my text messages, a printed copy of the email I sent accepting his proposal. I was part of a portfolio. The agents said it was the most elaborate psychological scam profile they had ever seen. He wasn't just conning women, he was experimenting with control. That's when I realized this went beyond romance. It was about power, about watching people crumble from the inside, not just for money, but for sport. They told me not to get involved. Let the agents handle it, they said. But after seeing my life pinned to a wall like I was part of some sick science experiment, I couldn't let it go. I needed to see him again. I needed to look into his eyes and let him know I knew. The FBI agreed to let me assist. Carefully. They were close. They believed he was in Colorado now, using a new name, Gabriel Pierce. He'd set up a fake coaching business for helping divorced women rebuild confidence. It was all scripted, a different angle, same poison. They wanted to lure him out using a new account. Fake profile, fake city, fake victim. But I had a better idea. I wanted to message him myself, a burner email, no real name, just a familiar tone, a nostalgic memory, one he planted. I sent, "You once told me love was just timing. Maybe our time is now." He replied 6 hours later. "Funny, I was just thinking about you." The nerve. He used a new name, new story, but the same rhythm, same words. He called me Angel again. I played along. We emailed for 3 days. I dropped clues that I had a house, that I felt lonely, that I'd been thinking about high school again, that I always regretted not seeing him one last time. It worked. He asked to meet. Denver, a bookstore cafe, Saturday, 3 p.m. The FBI prepped me for everything. Wires, backup, takedown team in place. They gave me a cover name, backstory, fake documents. But when I walked into that cafe, none of it mattered. Because when I saw him, it was him. Same walk, same smirk, same voice. But none of the warmth, just a hollow version of the man I thought I knew. He didn't recognize me, not right away. He sat across from me and started talking like it was any other con, like I was just another mark. I let him talk, I let him try, and then I said his real name. "How long did you practice this version, Eric?" His face changed instantly. It flickered, like a system glitch. He tried to smile. "I think you've mistaken me for—" "No, I haven't." I leaned forward, looked him in the eye, and whispered, "The FBI is here. You're done." That's when they moved. 5 agents, fast, quiet, efficient. He didn't fight, didn't run. He just looked at me and smirked. As if he wanted to be caught. As if I'd passed some twisted test. They found 3 fake IDs in his wallet. A burner phone taped under the table. Another woman's name printed on a hotel reservation in his jacket pocket. Back at HQ, they interrogated him for hours. He admitted nothing, not one confession, not even to me. But they had everything. Devices, digital trails, the storage unit, our texts, the voice memos. It was enough. They charged him with wire fraud, identity theft, and aggravated theft across 4 states. His bail was denied. I walked out of the courthouse that day shaking, not from fear, from closure, because I had finally taken back what he tried to steal. Not the house, not the money, my story, and I wasn't done telling it. And I